Sri Narendra Modi.
To all of you, on behalf of the Chief Justice of India and judges of the Supreme Court, I extend a very warm welcome to all the distinguished invitees to this inaugural function. Your gracious presence here adds immense value to this hallowed occasion when we have gathered to celebrate a historic day, a day when the Supreme Court of India came into existence in the newly born sovereign democratic Republic of India. As we enter into the 75th year of the Honorable Supreme Court of India, we are honored to have amidst us Shri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Dr. Justice Dhananjay Yashwant Chandrachud, the Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Shri Bhushan R. Gavai, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, Minister of State for Law and Justice, Independent Charge, Shri R. Venkat Ramani, Learned Attorney General for India, Shri Manan Kumar Mishra, Chairman, Bar Council of India, and Dr. Adish C. Agarwala, President, Supreme Court Bar Association. Chief Justice of Bangladesh, Justice Jayant C. Jayasuriya, Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, Justice Doji, Judge, Chief Justice of Bangladesh, Justice Jayant C. Jayasuriya, on this landmark day, as we take the rich legacy and journey of the
Minister of India, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, the Chief Justice of India, Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal, the Minister of State for Law and Justice, Mr. R. Venkat Ramani, the Attorney General of India, the Prime Minister of India, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, the Chief Justice of India, Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal, the Minister of State for Law and Justice, Mr. R. Venkat Ramani, the Attorney General of India, Mr. Manan Kumar Mishra, the Chairman, Bar Council of India, Dr. Adish C. Agarwala, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, the Chief Justices and guests from Bangladesh, Bhutan, Mauritius, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, the Chief Justices and Judges of the High Court, advocates, officers, and attendees. Namaskar and good afternoon. Today we are convened to mark a historic milestone, the commencement of the 75th year of the Supreme Court of India. In 1950, when we adopted the Constitution, the three wings were assigned monumental responsibility of transforming a newly independent nation into embodying the values and ethos of our Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's words, constitutional morality has to be embodied in nation building. It has to be cultured in a nation like India, where everything is newborn. To achieve this ideal, the Supreme Court of India is bequeathed with wide and expansive jurisdiction by the Constitution. Today, this court handles the highest volume of cases among the apex courts globally. Established in 1950, the court then had sanctioned strength of 8 judges. In the first year, it had pronounced 43 judgments. Today, the court has a strength of 34 judges and pronounces more than 1,000 judgments per year. This court's rich history is replete with landmark decisions, echoing the aspirations of our founders. As we look back, let our reflections be more than an exercise in nostalgia. Let it be a pledge to fulfill our constitutional responsibilities now and in foreseeable future. The court does not decide en banc as a full court. Initially, the court was convened in larger benches, but presently the court typically sits in smaller benches of 2 and 3 judges. Despite the need for consistency and certainty, this ensures diverse representation and acknowledges varied perspectives within the judicial system. Nevertheless, there exists a harmonious coherence among the benches, contributing to the evolution of law and establishment of precedents. This makes the court widely accessible and prioritizes accessibility to common litigants of our country. While we take pride in the court's wide accessibility, it is imperative to acknowledge the rising cost of litigation. The two significant financial burdens are the expenses related to court hearings and the cost due to delay in the form of time and money for the individuals and business and the taxes for the government. Addressing these challenges requires innovative solutions, including adoption of technology that makes our court citizen-friendly and litigant-driven. At the International Lawyers Conference 2023, our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, had highlighted the importance of drafting laws simply without complicating their understanding. I must acknowledge that complex articulation often seeps into our judgments. Our judgments, though profound and impactful, should be simple, clear, and brief. This approach is not a departure from the legal rigor. Rather, it is a commitment to enhancing the accessibility of law. Judicial scrutiny of actions of the elected and the executive branches, commonly referred to as power of judicial review, varies along with a spectrum of high to low deference. The court positions itself in this spectrum after weighing the considerations of committee it owes to other institutions, but as an independent and an impartial institution tasked with upholding the Constitution, fundamental rights, and the rule of law. The judges, after hearing both sides, typically deliberate and render the decisions in solitude, a practice designed for in-depth appraisal. By engaging in individual contemplation, the judges aim to insulate their decisions from any undue sway of collective external pressures and to mitigate the impact of personal prejudices. This is not by any means an easy task or ordinary task. It's a responsibility that requires meticulous consideration and deep commitment to fairness. The great thinker Lasky, after enumerating hallmarks of a good judge, and had said, and I borrow from him, a good judge is perhaps the rarest of all human types, for in being supremely himself, he must yet be supremely selfless. A society and a system that produces good judges can feel some real assurance about its future. In honoring the 75th year of Indian Supreme Court, let us affirm our collective commitment to these goals and ideals. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to request Dr. Adish C. Agarwala, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, to august the August gathering. Thank you.
I welcome all esteemed dignitaries to this August gathering. I feel proud that Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has spared his valuable time to celebrate commencement of Diamond Jubilee year of our Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of India has made its marks for being completely independent, inclusive, diverse, and has stood firmly behind the ideals enshrined in the Constitution. During my visits to different countries as President of International Council of Jurists, whose headquarters is in London, and as Vice Chairman of Bar Council of India, I noticed that our judgments are being cited, studied, and often followed by their courts, and I am referring not only to South Asian countries but also courts in Europe. Under the leadership of our Honorable Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, recent times have seen the judiciary rise to meet different challenges with active use of technology and video conferencing. The Supreme Court has also decided important cases like Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid dispute, same-sex marriage, abrogation of Article 370 and triple talaq. These decisions have enhanced the faith of the people in the Indian justice delivery system and are acclaimed throughout the world. Our judges worked hard even during COVID times when most countries and their judiciary were not functional. The system of video conferencing, introduced and promoted by Honorable Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, has been a huge success. Since COVID-19, the High Courts and the District Courts in India have heard nearly 3 crore cases, and the Supreme Court heard more than 5 lakh cases in virtual hearings, making Bharat a world leader in virtual hearings. I am delighted to note that the current government of India does not resist any decision of the court which is aimed at bringing about a more equal and empowered society. Regarding the justice delivery machinery and its reforms, the government is being seen as a partner and not as opponent of the Supreme Court. On all fronts now, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has provided a vision and a roadmap for the country to follow. We often hear the chant, Modi hai to mumkin hai. We have seen this happen in reality when bold decisions were taken, one after the other, during his leadership, which placed India on the expressway to becoming a superpower. Things which seemed impossible were also made possible because Modi ji took keen interest in the detailing instead of simply creating machineries half-heartedly. Leaders from most of the countries recognize you as a visionary statesman. You have also played a vital role in bringing about world peace and stability through diplomacy. Respected Prime Minister, you have recently overhauled the criminal laws and the law of evidence by bringing in new statutes in keeping with the changing times. This will strengthen our response to crimes and will enhance the faith of people in the law enforcement machinery. Honorable Prime Minister, as the President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, I may bring to your kind attention that our demand for providing chambers and cubicles, medical and life insurance to every regularly practicing member and the enactment of Central Advocates Protection Act are now pending with your government. Honorable Law Minister Shri Arjun Singh Meghwal has promised that the government will fulfill these long-standing demands. I am confident that these demands will also mumkin under your regime. I conclude by assuring both Prime Minister and Chief Justice that just as the government and the honorable courts have provided support to us, the bar to render all cooperation in all initiatives that help to bring people closer to justice. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request Shri Manan Kumar Mishra ji, Chairman Bar Council of India, to address this august gathering.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, We have gathered here to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee year of our Supreme Court. On this occasion, I would first acknowledge the outstanding contributions of the former and sitting Chief Justices, judges, and stalwart lawyers who have helped the Supreme Court earn its reputation as one of the finest judicial institutions in the world. Started with 7 judges with 1 Chief Justice, our Supreme Court has 34 judges today. Our Supreme Court is said to be the most powerful institution in the world. It has delivered several landmark judgments to uphold the supremacy of the Constitution and the fundamental rights guaranteed under it. Our Supreme Court fully recognizes the powers and supremacy of our Parliament also. In abrogation of Article 370, same-sex marriage matter, the Supreme Court refused to interfere, saying that these are the domain of the Parliament. The concept of public interest litigation is the innovation of our Supreme Court. Perhaps no other court in the world had been exercising this extraordinary jurisdiction. During COVID, as told by the previous speakers, the doors of Indian Supreme Court were open for every needy person. Respected dignitaries, on this momentous occasion, I must highlight the achievements of our Supreme Court under the leadership of Dr. D.Y. Chanchud and other honorable judges of Supreme Court. The ideas and initiatives of information and communication technology are superb under the present CGI. Hybrid hearing system is the game changer for the courtroom access. Integrated case management and information system, translation of judgments in almost all important regional languages, online appearance portal, all new e-filings, e-seva kendras, use of artificial intelligence, free Wi-Fi in premises, renovation of judges' library, Vidhi Gyan Sampada, training hall, e-copy module, data management and automation, live streaming of Constitution Bench hearings. These are all the historic achievements of our ever young, smart, and handsome Chief Justice of India, Dr. Chanchud. And also all our knowledgeable, sincere, diligent judges of Supreme Court sitting here today. We feel proud when we see and we hear that Cambridge, Oxford jail, सब जगह हमारे चंचूड़ साहब का डिमांड है. Sir, our honorable judges hear 60 to 100 cases daily. And in every case, they are well prepared. I can emphatically say that no judge of the top court of any other country has the capacity or zeal to do such hard and complicated works. As a member and the leader of the bar, I must say, to criticize any system is very easy. But one should be aware of the ground realities also. The backlog of and dependency, that is the biggest problem not only before the Supreme Court but before all the high courts and lower courts. But why it is there? It is because of the immense faith of the people in our judiciary in the Supreme Court. One should realize that. We need more judges at all levels. And one more thing, the leaders of the bar are here, the Supreme Court leaders are here. Rosters, what matters should be listed before whom, is not the job of the bar. It is for the Honorable Chief Justice and the Honorable Judges to decide. We are to protect the rights, privileges and interests of the lawyers, but at the same time, we have some limitations also. We should always keep it in mind. Now, something about our Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable the Prime Minister of India, who is sitting here on the dais. Ram Lala's case, A decree was passed in the year 2019. It was affirmed by the Supreme Court, but it was not so easy to get it executed. You all know the region and the situations existing at that time. Sir, it required a very strong willpower, confidence, dynamism, and expertise political skill, along with 56-inch ka sina to get it done. Otherwise, the judgment and decree would have been proved futile. On 26th of January, I was in Patna. A few of my school friends, they came to me. As a lawyer, I can say, as a judge, I can't. What will happen to Lok Sabha elections, sir? आप तो चेयरमैन हो बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के, आप हर जगह घूमते रहते हो, अभी 24 में क्या होगा? उसी में से एक ने जवाब दिया, अरे होगा क्या, इससे बढ़िया क्या होगा, जो हो रहा है वही होगा. Why? There is no unemployment, almost nil. गरीब कल्याण रोजगार अभियान आ गया. Daughters are no more liabilities. बेटी पढ़ाओ बेटी बचाओ. One said that my 2 daughters are IT engineers. 1 मिनट में मोबाइल से पैसा ट्रांसफर हो जाता है. And this is the all gift of our honorable the chief guest sitting here today. This technology, this has made everything easy. Our economy is growing very fast. Not only the reservation for females, bijli, pani, faster trains, airport, markable increase in foreign investment, grand success of Chandrayaan's landing, vocal for local, make in India. Now today we are 5th largest economy in the world. Asian Games record, victory हमारी. List of achievements can never be complete. बिहारी भाषा में एक ने बोला, सारा बड़का बड़का देश का शेर लोग हमारे मोदी जी के आगे भींगल सियार लगता है. This was the word used by one of my friends. पहले भारत का प्रधानमंत्री लोग विदेश के आगे में आते थे, आज सारी विदेशी ताकतें हमारे मोदी जी के आगे घिघी आती है. Sir, it's a very auspicious occasion today that the 2 big personalities, hero of the world's judiciary and the political hero of the world, are sitting together on the dais. $500 वर्षों तक झेल रहे करोड़ों भारतीयों को मानसिक पीड़ा से उबारकर हमारे रामलला को पुनः भव्य राजमहल सा मंदिर बनवाकर देश में राम राज्य की पुनर्स्थापना करने वाले युग पुरुष, विश्व के सबसे लोकप्रिय, प्रभावशाली और शक्तिशाली राजनेता, विश्व भर में भारत का मान सम्मान और शान बढ़ाने वाले ऐतिहासिक प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को देश के 25 लाख वकीलों और 140 करोड़ जनता का कोटिशः प्रणाम और नमस्कार, आभार. सर, आप स्वस्थ रहें, दीर्घायु हों. भगवान आपके नेतृत्व का लाभ इस देश को प्रदान कराते रहें. आने वाले समय में आपका नेतृत्व, हमारा भारत और शक्तिमान बने आपके नेतृत्व में, यही कामना है. जय भारत.
Thank you, sir. Moving ahead, I would now like to request Shri R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, to say a few words on this historic occasion.
Honorable the Prime Minister of India, Honorable the Chief Justice, my respectful regards to the galaxy of gathering here today. My heart jumps with joy on being part of this occasion. And it's a moment of great pride and pleasure to be part of an event celebrating 75 years of the Supreme Court of India. On the Republic Day, we saw the demonstration of the commitment of the nation to women's empowerment. In a significant step, the Supreme Court, playing its own part, has designated a number of women lawyers as senior counsel. These are not merely symbolic. Steps such as this in the nation, in the legal profession, and in the court shows momentous transition into the world of equality. Constitutional values and ideas emerge from social and political mobilizations. While courts do not lead such mobilization, they are an essential part of giving new and distinctive articulations. It's a matter of great pride, too, for every member of the legal fraternity to appreciate and stand by some of the most remarkable constitutional and jurisprudential doctrines and values the Supreme Court has not only articulated, but they ensured their entrenchment in the course of 70 years of its history. It goes to the credit of the Supreme Court and the High Courts that in the early years of the court, women and men of ordinary social position reached the courts and their causes came to be adjudicated. Today, the access to justice expands is a legal universe of its own. Unlike ordinary legislation, the Constitution is a document to be celebrated every day. A day in the life of a citizen is marked by several interventions as well as facilitations. So it is in the life of a nation that we move into an interconnected world. Every day will be marked by interventions and challenges. The citizens look up to the governance at the nearest level to be able to conduct and manage one's transactions with ease and comfort. The Constitution is a document of guarantees and freedoms, and the codification of power may seem to be a distant document for everyday life, but it is not. As we move from the index of one day to an index of larger periods, we begin to measure the impact of law on our life. This is where the chronicles of the life of a nation and what we call progress in the arrangement of the affairs of the nation becomes important. Compared to the long history of more than 200 years of the United States of America, with the birth of its Constitution in the year 1789, and compared to the constitutional history of England from the days of Magna Carta, or even compared to the constitutional history of some of the European nations, 75 years of our constitutional history may seem to be relatively small. But if one looks at what one may describe as the features of the Constitution and their impact on the lives of the people, we can say without being contradicted that 75 years of Indian constitutional history is as good as and as sound as comparable to any constitutional history. When we are assembled to talk about 75 years of the Constitution, we are talking about the transformation of the Constitution to the judicial process, and particularly to the Supreme Court. It's not possible to talk about the transformation in the Constitution without talking about the court. For constitutional scholars who talk in terms of constitutionalism, constitutional history is confined to or drawn in terms of performance by and functioning by institutions of governance. And there's also a shaping of the Constitution by judicial institutions. While this may be, to some extent, good focus, an equally important facet is the abiding faith of the people and the people's participation in the democratic process, and the pledge they have extended to the idea of a nation, its integrity, and their nexus and deliverance for the lives of the people. The Constitution, therefore, works when there is a confluence of citizens and the institutions, and when they stand together and the one does not fail the other. The endurance of the Constitution is the most important feature of the Constitution. The endurance is a contribution of the legislatures and the governance institutions and the judicial institutions. This contribution to the dynamic balance, political morality and governance accountability, about which Baba Sahib Ambedkar ever emphasized in his writings, are twin driving forces that can keep democracy vibrant and alive. So also the unfettered roles of the courts in ever being ready to explore the contours of citizens' rights and governance obligations, without, of course, sitting heavily on governance responsibility and governance initiatives. What governance does by right choices generates faith in democracy. What courts do by ensuring against wrongs of governments generates confidence in the Constitution. 75 years of history of the Supreme Court is a rich treasure house of law and jurisprudence. The contribution of the Supreme Court can be said to be unique in the sense that it has comprehended the diverse roles of the courts, but all tuned to standing by the sides of citizens in ever being vigilant in their protection and promotion. While we have borrowed from elsewhere, we have our own demonstrations of native genius. The permeation of the native jurisprudential genius as part of rule of law in the country has to be measured on its own forms as a post-colonial narrative. The history of constitutional litigation, the court shows how it provided a window and option for ordinary citizens to occupy spaces hitherto held by the elite and the well-endowed. The promises of an egalitarian state where equal regard for all will be the governing mantra, while seemed far removed from citizens' participation at the time of the advent of the Constitution, got translated into an accessible pathway solely by reasons of the Supreme Court opening up its doors to all causes and concerns of citizens. To assess the state of constitutional adjudication, which happens in the highest court today, we can look at what was stated in the year 1951 by the then Chief Minister of the state of Hyderabad, unquote. An extraordinary tendency has been noticed recently for all sorts of people to take up cases up to the High Court citing provisions in the Constitution relating to what are termed fundamental rights. A woman has asked for a stay of an order served on her by a police asking her to leave the state for non-possession of a valid permit, while two displaced teachers were asked to pass a test of regional language have prayed for the issue of writ of mandamus, questioning the validity of the order. I quote, "This statement was a very narrow view of the role of the courts and citizens' access to justice. While there could be several points of view on the expansion of the role of the courts in dealing with the facets of governance, hitherto away from scrutiny by courts, it is the unalloyed assertion of independence of judiciary that has added richness and strength to the constitutional consciousness of the citizens of Bharat. Satya and Dharma are intertwined. They reinforce each other. Bharat will continue to symbolize both of these values of civilization. We pledge to be part of this constitutional consciousness. Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir, for this insightful address, where your reflections on the Supreme Court's role and contributions were so beautifully woven together. अब मैं विधि एवं न्याय मंत्री श्री अर्जुन राम मेघवाल जी से विनम्रता पूर्वक आग्रह करती हूं कि वो इस सभागार में उपस्थित सभी श्रोतागण को संबोधित करें।
भारत के माननीय उच्चतम न्यायालय के 75 वर्ष पूर्ण होने के अवसर पर आयोजित इस भव्य कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित विश्व के सर्वाधिक लोकप्रिय नेता, विकसित भारत के संकल्प को सिद्धि में परिणत करने हेतु पूर्ण मनोयोग से लगे युग नायक भारत के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, भारत के माननीय उच्चतम न्यायालय के मुख्य न्यायाधीश डॉक्टर डी.वाई. चंद्रचूड़ जी, जस्टिस श्री संजीव खन्ना जी, न्यायाधीश सुप्रीम कोर्ट, जस्टिस श्री बी.आर. गवई साहब, न्यायाधीश सुप्रीम कोर्ट, श्री आर. वेंकटरमणी जी, अटॉर्नी जनरल ऑफ इंडिया, श्री मनन कुमार मिश्रा जी, चेयरमैन बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया, डॉक्टर आदित्य अग्रवाला, प्रेसिडेंट सुप्रीम कोर्ट बार एसोसिएशन, तथा उपस्थित माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट के न्यायाधीशगण, विभिन्न हाई कोर्ट्स के माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीशगण, श्रीलंका, बांग्लादेश, नेपाल, मॉरिशस व भूटान के मुख्य न्यायाधीश, समस्त अधिवक्तागण, मीडिया बंधु, नारी शक्ति एवं समस्त श्रोतागण, सॉलिसिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया तुषार मेहता जी और विधि के सभी ज्ञातागण, ये हम सभी के लिए अत्यंत गर्व और हर्ष का क्षण है